What's going on, everybody? Baird here with Spec of Tech. Welcome to the channel. I recently did a review of the SVS PB17 Monster 17-inch subwoofer, and you guys had a lot of comments or questions down in the comment section asking me how it stacks up versus some of the other subwoofers that I've measured in my room in the front right-hand corner. So I've decided to do a series of videos showing you guys exactly how the PB17 measurements stack up to some of the other subwoofers that I've measured in the front right-hand corner of my room. Please don't go down to the comments below and say this isn't a fair comparison because of this, that, and the other thing. I'm not comparing them saying that it is a fair comparison. I'm comparing them because you guys were asking how the measurements stack up. And that's what I'm going to show you guys, how the output stacks up versus some of the other subwoofers. Some of them are going to be less expensive, some are going to be more expensive, some will have two drivers, some will be different sizes. So I know that it's not exactly apples to apples, but you guys wanted to know, so that's why I'm providing this information. With all that said, in today's video, we're going to be comparing the SVS PB17 to the Tonewinner D8000 dual 15-inch subwoofer. So I will show you guys some of the basic specs and the price up on your screen. And once we've had a chance to have a look at that, we'll hop over onto my computer and we'll compare the room measurements of these subwoofers in the front right hand corner of my room. Please do keep in mind that there was no room calibration done on either of these subwoofers, so it's just the subwoofer with no calibration whatsoever from my AVR. Alright, so now that we're over on my computer, let's start off by having a look at the SVS PB17 in extended mode versus the D8000 in deep mode. So they do call them something different, but essentially they're the same thing where they increase the low end of the subwoofer. So let's clear the PB17. Okay, so this is what we have for the D8000. This is just to show you guys kind of the comparison. It's not super scientific, it's not down to the dB, but as you can see, this green line is compressing on the D8000, so that's clear. So we'll remove that one. The orange line does look pretty good. Leaning back here, it looks pretty good on the D8000 Pro. Again, if you guys see something that I don't see, you can always just compare the lines that I didn't see if you want to. But it looked pretty good to me. So the PB17, let's have a look at that. Where did it compress in extended mode? Okay, so let's just clear this D8000 at minus 18. So clearly the PB17 is compressing on that green line. Clearly it's compressing on that red line because they're much closer. This upper purple line does look pretty good from what I can see here. So we'll keep that as the max output before compression, and then for the D8000 Pro, it was this one. Okay, so at about 18.3 hertz, they're pretty much identical. The D8000 Pro is giving you more in the higher frequencies a little bit. At 32 hertz, you're looking at 115 versus 112 on the PB17, and then over here you're looking at 104.9 versus 102. So you do get a little bit more output in some of these frequencies, in the higher frequencies on the D8000. But below 18 hertz, the PB17 is giving you more output. So let's try and find 15 hertz here. That's close enough to 15 hertz. 108 on the PB17 versus 103 on the D8000. At 10 hertz, you are at 98 on the PB17 and 93 on the D8000. But again, we need to remember that the D8000 is significantly less money than the PB17, but that could be one of the reasons why the PB17 is a little bit more expensive. It's giving you a little bit more on the low end versus the D8000. But both of them are performing very well here. The D8000 is still holding its own. Like I said, it does give you a little bit more in the higher frequencies. But let's have a look at how the D8000 stands up in normal mode versus the PB17 in standard mode. Okay, so let's have a look at the D8000 Pro in standard mode. Let's see where it compressed. This blue line, there is some compression here, so we will remove that one. The green line does look pretty good from here. There may be some very slight compression here, so you know what? Since I called it out, we will remove that line and we'll keep the orange line as the max output for the D8000 in normal mode. The PB17 in normal mode, let's just pull those measurements up. And so let's remove this D8000 negative 18 for now. The orange line clearly compressing on the PB17. This blue line, yeah, it's a little bit compressing there. So we will keep, I believe the green line looks good. So we'll keep the green line for the PB17 and we'll remove all these other lines. Okay, so here you have the D8000 Pro in standard mode, or normal mode, sorry, and the PB17 in standard mode. So the PB17 does look to be giving you a little bit more output from about 13 Hertz to some of these higher frequencies. But below 13 Hertz, the D8000 is giving you a little bit more from 91, at 10 Hertz, 91.6 to 89.4. But again, they're pretty close. They're performing very similarly, but at 20 Hertz, we have 113.8 with the PB17 and 111.3 on the D8000 Pro. They do kind of meet up here. So you're kind of getting a few extra dB on the PB17 versus the D8000 Pro in standard mode, kind of across the board except for below 13 Hertz. So I'll let you guys make up your own mind there, but they're both holding up very well. The D8000 Pro being a less expensive subwoofer, still competing with the PB17, is still impressive, but the PB17 is giving you a little bit more in this mode. Okay, so let's have a look at the PB17 in sealed mode versus the D8000 in sealed mode. Now, the one thing to keep in mind with the D8000 is in sealed mode, you can still run it in normal mode or deep mode. So I did take measurements in both just to see what the difference would be. So we'll start off with the D8000 in sealed mode, but deep, with the deep sound profile turned on. So let's remove the PB17 measurements here. Okay, so this is the D8000 Pro in sealed mode with a deep sound profile. So this blue line is clearly compressing. The green line looks pretty good to me. I'm not sure if you guys feel the same, but I'd say it looks pretty good. So let's keep that green line for the D8000 Pro in sealed mode with a deep sound profile. And then for the PB17 in sealed mode, let's have a look where it's compressing. So let's just remember that the D8000 Pro, this green line at -15. This teal line is clearly compressing. This brown line also compressing on the PB17. It's very apparent. The blue line looks pretty good. So let's keep that blue line for the PB17. So here's where things really look different in these sound profiles. So the D8000 pretty much has more output across the board. Here the PB17 has like an extra dB in this small frequency range here and here, but for the most part that's pretty close. But above 16.8 Hertz, the D8000 is giving you quite a bit more output when you have it in the deep sound profile in sealed mode. So this is all significant output. That's output you're going to notice. This output right here, you're not really going to notice that extra dB so much in the infrasonics. But with the D8000 Pro giving you 116.8 dB with the PB17 only giving you 107, that's going to be noticeable output. At 20 Hertz, you're looking at 107 on the D8000 and 104 on the PB17. Not as noticeable, but 3 dB is still noticeable. And just for another reference here, 105 dB at 63 Hertz. Versus 91 dB. Like, that's pretty big differences that you are going to notice with the D8000 Pro. So that's in its deep sound profile. Let's see what it looks like with the D8000 Pro in sealed normal sound profile. Okay, so let's remove the PB17 at -21, this blue line here, just so we can have a look at this. In all honesty, there's not much compression happening on this green line, but I'll clear the green line and keep the red line on the D8000 Pro in normal mode. The PB17. So as you can see in normal mode, the PB17 does have a little bit more output from 17, almost 18 Hertz down. At 10 Hertz, you have 98 on the PB17 and 95.8 on the D8000, but above 18 Hertz, you have significantly more output on the D8000. Again, these are output numbers you're going to notice. Maybe not so much at 20 Hertz because it's 105 versus 104, but at 32 Hertz, you have 115 versus 106.9, and that kind of remains true throughout this frequency range here where the D8000 is giving you significantly more. Again, very impressive for the D8000 to be outperforming the PB17 considering the price difference, although they are fairly close in some of the other sound modes. In these sound modes, or the sealed sound mode, the D8000 really seems to shine. But that's all the measurements that we have for the D8000 Pro versus the PB17. I hope that you guys did find those room measurements helpful. Like I said, there was a lot of you asking about them, so there must be a lot of you out there curious how the SVS PB17 stack up to the other subwoofers. If you guys are interested in learning more about these subwoofers, I have dropped links down in the description below. And if you guys are interested in purchasing them, please do consider using my links. It really doesn't cost you guys anything extra, but it does help out the channel so that I can keep bringing you guys this information. And if you guys do want to see the PB17s compared to some other subwoofers, I will link them at the end of this video, or you can just go to my channel and have a look there. But I am doing a series of these, so make sure you stay tuned. To do that, subscribe to the channel, tick the bell icon if you do, and please take just one short second to hit that like button. I always do appreciate it. Remember to enjoy your systems. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. PB17